What's up, y'all? My name is Karina Cook. I am a tax and financial strategist. I'm a CEO, a businesswoman, a faith-led businesswoman at that. What's up, y'all? It's your host, Karina Cook. Welcome to Evolving Out Loud. Again, y'all already know I'm happy that y'all here. And we are towards the end of the year, so I want to start talking about something really important, y'all. Can we talk about this and be real for a second? Because I feel like everybody wants to make more money, but nobody really want to look at it. And they wait to the last minute. And like, I get it, but the numbers, listen, it can feel scary, but you cannot grow what you don't track. So, today I want to talk about the real reason your business might be stuck or how to get out of it. And it's not because you're not making enough, because you don't have a plan and you're probably not looking at your money and it's not matching your purpose. So, think about it. When was the last time you really sat down and actually looked at your money? Really looked at it, not just looking at your balances, but like, where is your money going? Where is it? Listen, really, this is important to me because I know that looking at your numbers can feel like you're looking at a mirror after you've been ignoring it. But the truth is, you cannot fix it if you wait too late. And bookkeeping is not a punishment, it's something that helps you really be able to understand where you are so that you can make better moves, you can track it, and then whatever you're reporting, it makes sense. Because a lot of people don't really do that. My thing is, if you don't know bookkeeping and you don't feel like finding out how to do it, find someone to help you because that's going to be really important. And how I explain it to my clients is that bookkeeping is what happens, right? Budgeting is what's happening, what's in the moment. And when we look at forecasts, that's what's coming to you, right? What I want to plan for. So you need all three if you want it to work together and you want to stop feeling like you're behind all the time. Bookkeeping is really going to help you see what your business is actually doing. And then budgeting gives you control. And then forecasting helps you plan what's next, which is really important. All three of them work well together. And I want you to ask yourself, which one am I really doing? Am I doing all three? Am I doing one or two? And why am I ignoring it? And depending on the one that you're not doing or the few, then this is an area that you see that you're lacking in, that you need more assistance in. Either you have to have someone on your team or you have to start understanding how to sit down and forecast and do the numbers, because the numbers is what's going to get you where you want to go, right? And you want to make sure that you're being proactive, because when you finally sit down and you look at your numbers, y'all, you're going to realize that it's not as bad as you think. And sometimes it might be. But in reality, if you're doing it frequently, it's not going to be that bad. Even if it is, imagine looking at it and being able to fix it. Because the thing is, clarity is going to give you confidence. Okay. Because imagine the kind of confidence that you're going to have when you're able to know what's actually happening. And then you're going to be in a position where you're going to be in a position where you stop reacting and you start responding how appropriately. If I don't even know if that even is the context I want to use, but imagine like how less stressful it'll be if you know what your business is doing the next month, in 3 months, and in 6 months. I mean, the smart way is just to start small. You don't need to know everything. And I'm going to say that to you all the time. You really just need to show up for what you're doing. I think that is obviously a great idea to make a rhythm out of checking your bank account once a week, making sure you're categorizing everything, seeing what's coming in and what's going out. And then you'll be ahead of most people, trust me. And you'll be surprised how much money people make that they don't do it. There's a scripture that I always quote, Luke 16:10, that says, whoever can be trusted with little, with very little, can be trusted with very much, or with much. And that shows me that God ain't waiting on you to make millions of dollars. He's waiting on you to manage what you have. And so the idea is to look at what you have, manage it, budget it, forecasting, because that is one of the things people don't do, is looking at it beforehand and saying, where should I be? Where did I say I was going to be? And where did I start? And making sure that, one, when we understand, like I said in the beginning, bookkeeping is something completely different than forecasting. Bookkeeping is literally just looking at what you have already done. What has already been done that you can record, that you can see what happened in the past, and being able to track what it is you're doing. So now you have data and you can make decisions based on that data that you have. And that's the most important part, is how can I get this? The whole thing is data. How can I get myself organized? How can I get the information that I need so that I can make smart decisions by budgeting and by forecasting? And all of this data is taken, and people get accounting confused with bookkeeping, when bookkeeping is just showing the history of what you have already done. There's nothing you can change. Accounting is looking at that and making decisions off of it, right? We're interpreting what the numbers say so that we can forecast and make decisions. And also, part of that forecasting and making decisions will be paying the IRS, seeing how you can move during the year. Can you invest in real estate? Can you actually fund any IULs or retirement accounts? Can you afford to pay your kids? Can you afford to make any of these additional business moves? How much of a business move do you actually have to make now? Because now that you see your numbers. So it is a very powerful thing that I don't feel like a lot of people take advantage of. And I think what happens is people get caught up in the day-to-day life of entrepreneurship. And this is why I say you need to put your CEO hat on. Right? We need to say, okay, entrepreneurship is this thing, but I'm a CEO and I still have to control what I'm seeing and control the business so that it can be moved, right? And that I can plan ahead and not worry about being left behind. And so as we're doing that, start by like reconciling, right? This year, looking at your books before December. And we talked about this in another video where we talked about planning in the fourth quarter, right? So this comes also during the year, but this is a part of planning in the fourth quarter, is making sure that you're able to reconcile and that your team is reconciling before December. Like the books look like they're good, right? And it's on track to where it needs to be. And if you don't have a budget, just make a simple one. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm telling you, I don't want you guys to start overthinking what a budget can be, what it looks like. This budget can be, this can be adjusted. This can be something that you go in later and expand on. But starting to practice what that actually looks like is going to be really important as a CEO of your company, to make sure that you see what you're able to do before you actually make plans to forecast ahead of time, right? And so when we're forecasting, usually you're forecasting in the first quarter, right? Forecasting is like, what do I want my sales to look like? How do expenses, what does expenses look like? What is my taxes going to look like? Okay. That's what you're doing based off of what your goals are. Okay. So you start with bookkeeping, then you go into budgeting, and then you're also looking into your forecasting so you can understand where you're headed and what goals to actually hit. So the earlier that you see what's coming, the less stress you'll have later on. And you'll be able to get into other projects with people or partners or companies, whatever it is, because you know your numbers. You actually are confident in where this is going to be. Because I think what happens is people see bookkeeping and budgeting and all this stuff and they say, I'm not good at math. That's not my thing. And then they put it off. Well, you don't want to do that. You want to get ahead of the game. Again, this is where your inner circle happens. When you get other people who are good at what you don't like or what you don't do so that they can do it for you effectively and efficiently. And this is what's going to move the needle to pushing your business where it should be. So I want that to be something that people are very diligent about, because even me, as I've done bookkeeping, y'all, I've done accounting, taxes, tax strategy, all the things. I do not like bookkeeping. In the earlier stages of my career, I did enjoy it because it was something that I'm like, okay, I have the skill of organization and I kind of like to figure out where things go and how to put them and to keep people organized. But the more I did it, the more I didn't like to do it. So that is something that I just have a skill for. And I still do it even though I don't like to, because I know where it takes my business to know ahead of time. And even budgeting. So I actually had budgeting because I started to budget. I was just budgeting anyway as a youngster, okay? Being in 16 and having a job. So I started early budgeting, and it just became a skill that I developed, and that carried into my business. So being able to budget and forecast is just something that I started to do ahead of time, way before where I am now. So it was a practice. And even though I'm not a bookkeeper, right? I'm not an accountant, but I have the skill because I've practiced it before, and I was that at one point. And so it allowed me to carry that into what I do now. But trust and believe, I will make sure that even after I have the capacity to do my own, I'm always going to delegate that, because it is not something that I play around with. It needs to be done in order for me to be efficient and to see what it is I need to do ahead of time and to be prepared. And if it's something that I cannot do because I see that I'm not ready for it or I'm not in a position to, then I can call it, right? And then I can adjust and tweak if that's something that I feel I can do later. And so, again, the earlier you do it, the less stress that you'll have and the more proactive you'll be. And y'all know, we're going to say this all the time: proactive, not reactive. We're all about doing things accordingly. Okay. And so it helps because you don't have to wait till tax season to figure it out. You don't know how many times people come to me during February, March, April, and they don't have their books done. And they're like, I'm trying to get my bookkeeping done because I want to get my taxes done. And just imagine with you starting this, you'll be so far ahead of other people who aren't doing it. Not that it's a competition, but I'm saying that there's people who are just really not doing it. And so if you start now and you get your numbers in order and you just make a simple budget and just forecast to see where you're going, if that's, you can't walk by faith even with your money. Because listen, you cannot walk by faith with your finances if you really don't even know where you stand. You can try, but then you still have to manage what you have and then walk by faith. Okay. And so, just to close this out, I really want y'all to know that bookkeeping, budgeting, and forecasting is not just a business task. I really believe that it allows you to really be a disciplined in what you're doing and take it serious with what you're doing and steward what you're doing, because otherwise you'll have chaos and you'll just be reactive and you won't be able to move your business where it can go. And so this has been fun, y'all. This is Evolving Out Loud. We're going to get our money in order. We will get the mindset in order. And I really want to encourage you guys to just check your numbers, share it with somebody, have a team, get a board, be able to have someone in your circle to help you understand how to navigate this if that's what you need. And so we are doing it again. We're evolving and we're evolving out loud. I'll see y'all next time. Exciting to say the least, and I'm happy that I'm doing it with you guys. Until next time, I love y'all and welcome to Evolving Out Loud.